Hey everybody, I am alive, I promise. I am so sorry it has taken me this long to film any kind of update for my channel. Judging by the background of my bedroom, that pretty much sums up what my life looks like right now. It has been really messy and really difficult the past couple weeks, and I just have not been able to get it together to film any kind of meaningful update on my pregnancy. But it is time. I've got to do it, so I'm doing it now. We're just going to keep it short and sweet. Today I am 9 weeks and 2 days pregnant. Approximately 2 weeks ago, like I think it was around 7 weeks, 7+0, 7+1, I started having the onset of some pregnancy symptoms, the bad ones. And mostly it was just this feeling of being hungover, kind of worn down, not feeling too great, that sort of thing. That has since progressed and culminated to today, where I legit got horribly sick. This is actually the first time, like the first real time that I've thrown up this pregnancy, and I never threw up in my pregnancy with my daughter. So this is definitely a new level I've reached. But the nausea and just all day hangover feelings have been around almost every single day for the past 2 weeks. And it's definitely gotten worse and worse as the days have gone on. I have read that HCG levels peak at around 9 to 10 weeks pregnant. And so, like, the really bad nausea and vomiting symptoms tend to peak out during those weeks. So, I have my fingers crossed that next week I'm gonna start feeling better. But all of that to say, I've just been pushing through. I feel really guilty. I have put a lot on my husband's plate. My house is a mess. It is disgusting. I just can't bring myself to do anything, and every day gets harder. Every day it just compounds. Waking up and knowing what I have to face, and it's yet another day of the same, like, struggles. It's just extremely unmotivating. But with that said, I have tried to tackle one thing a day. This morning, like in between vomiting, I detailed our car, and it needed it so badly, especially where my daughter's car seat is. It was foul. So our car is like beautiful and spick and span. A couple days ago, my husband and I tag teamed and we cleaned the kitchen top to bottom, scrubbed the cabinet faces and everything. So that felt really good to do. You know, I'm just trying to keep moving. And to that end, I have made it a point to continue to work out almost every day, despite the misery I'm in. And the reason I've made it a point to do that is because feeling sick all day long, and then like at nighttime, and God forbid I have to get up with my toddler during the night, which I've had to do now at least once a night for months. My nausea and like ill feelings are the worst at night. Not to mention, I just toss and turn and have nightmares and like night sweats all night long, so I'm not sleeping that well. This has all compounded, and it's given me a pretty decent case of prenatal anxiety and maybe even prenatal depression. And that could even be why I haven't uploaded a video yet, because I just don't want to be a downer. But this is the reality of the first trimester. It's not something you can plan for. It's something you think that you are ready to embrace, knowing like you've got this miracle growing in your body. But when it comes to day after day after day after day of so much struggle, it can really get to you. And I'm lucky. I didn't even have symptoms until 7 weeks. Like some women have been dealing with this since before they were even 4 full weeks pregnant. So my hat off to you, ladies, that have gone through that, because I probably would have gone insane by now. But you know, this is a really good thing to go through. Maybe it will take away the baby fever if I ever get it again in the future, just knowing how hard it is to manage this while taking care of another child. I can't just lay around and rest whenever I want. I just can't, even though I have the most brilliant husband. He's been taking paternity leave. He's got a couple months saved up from our daughter, so he's been staying home on Thursdays and Fridays to help me out, which is great. But anyway, I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety, just generalized anxiety. There's like no reason for it. There's nothing I can pinpoint. I just have these moments of anxiousness and sort of like trepidation, and homesickness. I'm having horrible homesickness, which might be because of the weather. It's really warm out. It makes me miss California. And so I have found that regardless of how absolutely horrible I feel, I have to get out of the house and move once a day. So I've been taking my dogs on walks anywhere from like 4.5 to 7 kilometers a day, and or I've been going to the gym. And the gym has been brilliant. First, it starts off being super barfy and the last place in the whole world that I want to be. But I have like a system down that is really working for me. I do 30 minutes on the cross trainer, just gentle, light, ease myself into it, get my heart rate going. And I listen to like just one of my really favorite playlists, and that kind of like gets me in the mindset of like motivation, and I can do this, and I want to do this, and I'm going to beat this, and I'm going to stay on top of how I feel. I'm not going to lose control. And then I go into a weights circuit for 30 minutes. And I really only have 2 weight circuits I'm doing right now. The first is back and chest. And then the second is mostly focused on posterior chain. For back and chest, I do lat pull downs, I do seated rows, I do posterior flies. So you take the thing and I don't know if this makes any sense. And I do a chest press, and I'm still doing a bench press while I'm allowed to lay on my back. I think after 12 weeks of pregnancy, you're not supposed to do exercises where you're laying on your back. But right now I am still doing, what is that, supine or prone? I don't know, laying down flat bench presses. And yeah, so that's mostly my upper body routine right now. And then for my legs / posterior chain, I've been focusing on, like, I still do quad extensions, but I do hamstring curls, I do donkey kicks, I do bridges, where I just lay on the ground and bridge. I do calf extensions. I've been doing hip abductor exercises. And that's the one where your legs are like this, and you've got the weights on the outside of your legs, and then you push the weight out. So it works like your outer hips. I can't do abductors, which is when the weight pads are on the inside of your legs and you press them together, because I found that particular exercise is what causes me like wretched pubic bone pain, which if you've seen any of my previous videos, you've known I've gone in and gotten like ultrasounds and gotten checked out to make sure I didn't have any like reproductive tract problems, because that has been around since I had my daughter. So I just can't do hip abductor exercises, but I can do, no. I can't do adductor exercises. That's when you bring them together, but I can do abductor, which is when you push them out. Right. Anyway, so I've been trying to focus on my posterior chain because I know that is going to make my back really strong and happy during this pregnancy, because I have back problems. And haven't really been doing much for core. I have been doing side bends at the gym, but that's pretty much it. Anyway, this has kind of gone on a tangent. But I do my 30 minutes on the cross trainer, I do my 30 minutes weights, and then I do 30 minutes walking on the treadmill at about an 8% incline, and then the speed, I put the speed at 5.6, but I don't know if that's kilometers per hour or miles per hour. I don't know what my treadmill like measures. Suffice it to say, it's a very brisk walk for that kind of incline, and I do that for 30 minutes. It's a really long workout, I know. It's 90 minutes long. But when I do it, once I get into it, all of my nausea, all of my fatigue, all of my horrible feelings, all of my anxiety, my depression, if I feel it, um, any general sense that I feel like my life is totally falling apart and I'm wasting away and getting fat and, all these like crazy irrational things that go through a woman's mind sometimes disappears. And once I get out, I feel so much better for about 20 minutes. And then I go back to feeling totally wretched and sick again. But the mental benefit of doing it, of getting that healthy endorphin kick in despite feeling sick, is so empowering. And it makes me feel like, despite the fact that my diet is a Greek tragedy with what I've been eating, at least I am doing something healthy to counterbalance it. And that means the world to me in like my psychological space. Speaking of diet, yeah, it's just horrible. I cannot even tell you. I have eaten McDonald's more in the past 2 to 3 weeks than I have in the past 5 years. But I try to I try to reason with myself that the only reason I'm eating it, it's not even that I'm craving it, it's that whenever I have the stomach flu or whenever I'm really hungover, just like anyone else, I crave fatty, greasy, salty, filling, warm foods. It's the only thing that makes my belly feel better. And even though when I eat McDonald's now, it doesn't make my morning sickness goes away. Psychologically, my head tells me, do this. We just want to feel better. We just need to have a moment of relief. So I have caved in. Like, I feel like at least once or twice a week, we have gone out to eat fast food. I'm not a McDonald's fan, but it's really just the only fast food that we have anywhere near us here in Sweden. With my daughter, it was Taco Bell. And when I was living in California still, I don't eat Taco Bell, but when I was pregnant, oh, the soft tacos with the mild sauce on it, I would totally eat it now if we had Taco Bell anywhere in Sweden, but it's banned, I think, here. So, yeah, I've had that. I've had moments of like, I've had my Ben and Jerry's moments, you guys. I have had my moments. And, just I'm not watching my sugar intake. I've been drinking a lot of juice. So anyway, I have had my moments, is what I'm trying to say. But the past few days, I have been on a. Oh, that's another thing. I got into the habit of eating breakfast cereal in the morning because it was really the only thing that sounded appetizing to me in my moments of morning sickness, and I had to get something in my belly to feel better, to get my daughter to school, to get myself to school. But I have since quit the cereal because I was finding that my blood sugar about 2 hours after I ate breakfast would crash so hardcore that I would be literally on my hands and knees shaking, shortness of breath, like heart feeling like it was racing, just completely annihilated. And like my husband would have to come home or come to me or whatever and get me to the couch and feed me and get me stable again. I had a couple episodes of that, which was super scary, and we both agreed that I need to quit the carbs, like the empty carbs in the morning, and focus on like fibers and proteins. So I have done that the past 4 days now, and it's been wonderful. I have a big bowl of oatmeal with whole milk and like half a banana sliced into it with breakfast, for breakfast, with a side of celery sticks and peanut butter. So that is my breakfast, and a tall glass of water and a cup of tea. And then for lunch, I have been having big salads. I have avocados. Like today, I had spinach salad with avocado and cucumber and grapes and pepperoncinis, with Italian dressing. And then I have a couple, like anywhere from 2 to 4 hard-boiled eggs. And then today I also made Mexican cucumber, which is just cucumber slices with salt, cayenne pepper, and a lot of lime juice. I'm so into tangy foods right now. And then dinner, we try to have some sort of meat. I have not had food aversions much this pregnancy. With my daughter's pregnancy, my food aversions were to the max, but then I never had nausea with her, so it's a little different this time. But we've been grilling out a lot. We have a lot of like elk meat and boar in our freezer from, you know, hunting game that we bought last year. So we've been thawing that out. I have some salmon in the freezer that I plan on cooking this week. Today I'm going to be making pork chops, and I made a homemade applesauce with some of these really delicious small tart apples that our neighbor is growing on trees. So, you know, I'm okay with food and cooking when I have my nausea under control, and today it is somewhat under control. But on the days that it's bad, unfortunately, it all seems to peak at around, or start to peak at around 4:30 for me every afternoon, and it just goes completely downhill from there. So making dinner has been a challenge for me because it's when I feel my most sick and like I'm least motivated to be in the kitchen touching food. But I'm trying my best to keep the routine up and at least contribute somehow to my family because my toddler still needs to eat. But anyway, I'm trying to stick to healthy foods and good eating decisions during the day. So this video is now getting to be a little bit long, so I think I'm going to end it now. But just to sum it all up, I'm feeling like dirt, but I'm trying to push through it. I'm trying to make good decisions. I'm forgiving myself for the bad eating decisions I do make. Oh, another like huge update. I got a job, and this video is too long for me to talk about it, but briefly, my daughter goes to preschool with a woman who co-founded a company, like a med tech company, and she had mentioned that they are kind of like needing a lot of help, but they need to wait for funding to come through. And then she asked me to come in to actually model a like device that they have invented. So I came in and I did that, and they like hooked me up to all these pressure sensors, and they were like measuring the pressure of this apparatus and like taking like photographs for it for their records. And I was like cracking jokes about how I knew I would make it big in life once I left Hollywood. And one thing led to another, and the next day I got hired, and the following day I had signed my job contract, and I am now employed in Sweden. It's been crazy. It's been a whirlwind. But so yeah, I've been dealing with morning sickness, and now I work, and I am still doing school. I passed my first course with an A, so now I'm on to high school level Swedish, and it's a distance course. It's kind of confusing. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm hoping I might be able to take the test early and finish up the class sooner rather than later, so that I can just focus on surviving and kind of integrating myself into this new job opportunity. My contract is only through to the beginning of September because they need to wait for their next set of funding to come in before they can guarantee jobs. But I am praying to God that if I do a really good job and there's no problem with funding coming through, that they might offer me a permanent job contract, because that means I would actually be able, I think, to lock in income-based payouts for my maternity leave benefits. Otherwise, I get minimum wage, which is like not anything you can really live on. Anyone, even if you've never worked here in Sweden, you get your 8 months of paid maternity leave. But if you don't work, or if you haven't worked long enough, or if you don't make enough In the job you do have, you only get like the minimum base amount that the government pays to people in your position. The only way to get like the 80% of your salary payout is if you've worked for 270 days prior to the due date, and that would be like equivalent to 8 months. So basically, you need to be working before you found out you were pregnant, which, you know, makes sense why they would do that. Or I have also been told that it can be a shorter amount of time, just 6 months, if you've worked 6 months prior to your due date, if you have a permanent job contract, because that means you will be working no matter what. You know, yeah. So I need to verify that still, but I'm really hoping, if that's true, that I might be able to work my way into a permanent job contract. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up getting minimum wage during my maternity leave, which kind of sucks. But I'm going to end this video now because it's super long. I'm also not going to edit it because staring at my phone screen and editing gives me horrible migraines. So take it for what it is, warts and all, crazy hair, don't care. But that is my current pregnancy update. I try to upload stuff on Instagram every couple of days. I've mentioned this before. I'll put a link down below to my page, but it is just at an expat mommy in Sweden if you feel like checking my stuff out there. Otherwise, I will be back sometime probably between middle and end of June for another update on this channel, because I have my next midwife appointment on June 12th, and then I have my next ultrasound at 12 and a half weeks at the end of June, on June 25th, I believe. So we are going to be doing the NT scan to see if baby has any kind of soft markers for Downs, that kind of thing. And we'll make a decision based off of the results of that ultrasound as to whether we want to do the cell-free fetal DNA test. But otherwise, it'll just be really nice to see baby again. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Instagram, and maybe I'll upload a video between now and then if anything cool and fun and exciting happens. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.